Hello, and welcome back to the Live Label Free podcast. We have a very exciting episode coming up, but I've got to be honest, I have an even more exciting announcement that I want to make first. The Autistically ED-free membership has officially launched. What is this membership, you may ask? Well, as we recently wrapped up Season 1 of the Autistically ED-free Academy, many members expressed sadness that the community and connection we had built was ending. So me, being the autistic problem solver I am, wanted to create something ongoing at a super affordable price point for anyone looking for continued support on their neurodiversity affirming recovery journey. And that's exactly what the Autistically ED-free membership is. An online safe space where autistic individuals and their supporters come together to learn, inspire, and discover non-traditional ways to recover from disordered eating. What I'm most excited about, and honestly I thought this solution was quite genius, is that we meet every Tuesday at alternating times so that no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to join. Whether you're in California, Boston, Europe, Australia, Asia, Antarctica, you name it, I made sure that the alternating calls accommodate your time zone. During the calls, we'll dive into a treasure trove of topics related to autism and eating disorders, exploring practical strategies that help you embrace neurodivergence while challenging beliefs and behaviors that are holding you back. And if you can't make it live, no problem. All calls will be recorded and added to our growing library, creating an ever-expanding resource for your or your loved one's recovery journey. So if you are ready to connect with others that genuinely understand the complexities of the autism eating disorder connection, join the Autistically ED-free membership today by visiting the link livelabelfree.com/membership. So that's livelabelfree.com/membership. And I hope to see you there. And now, let's dive into today's episode.
Gotta put one foot in front of the other, and you'll be around the corner soon.
Welcome to the Live Label Free podcast, where we talk about autism, ADHD, eating disorders, existentialism, and everything in between. I'm your host, Livia Sarah. Now let's get into it. I've been wanting to record this episode for quite some time now, because this question comes up frequently in the context of autism and eating disorders. How do I know how much to eat? I had this question myself during recovery. I believed I couldn't trust my body, which is why I stuck rigidly to meal plans. The rules were clear. All I had to do was follow the map, and I couldn't, quote-unquote, fail at eating. I believe this idea of not knowing how much to eat is elevated when we develop the eating disorder at a young age. If you've read my book Rainbow Girl, you know I was just 11 years old when it all started. When I decided to recover, I was nearly a legal adult who obviously had very different needs. Not to mention, I had a ton of energy debt to pay back, which you can read more about in my book How to Beat Extreme Hunger. Clearly, I am an author at heart, and I absolutely love writing books because books allow me to go deeper than I ever could in a podcast episode, blog post, or coaching session. But one reason I will forever continue with live coaching is that I learn so much from my students and clients. They help me stay curious and inspire me to articulate concepts in new ways. And that's exactly what prompted my recording this podcast episode today. I'd been turning this question of, how do I know how much to eat, over in my mind for months, So you can only imagine how magnetically pulled I felt to finally articulate everything I'd been thinking when I received the following message. What would a typical day of eating look like for you when you had extreme hunger? I'm just trying to figure out how much to eat, and it would be helpful to have an example. Oh my goodness. I cannot even begin to express what a tornado my mind took me in with this one. Just reading the message over again. I'm just trying to figure out how much to eat, and it would be helpful to have an example. I am practically transported back to the time when I was obsessed with watching what I eat in a day videos, constantly searching for permission to eat everything I was thinking of. Because surely other people didn't want to eat an entire jar of peanut butter. Surely other people didn't hasten to the store to buy 7 discounted pastries only to eat them in solitude on the kitchen floor. Well, okay, I'm sure other people did do that, but those were the binge eaters. Those were the people who had lost control, and I wasn't about to let that be me. And I'm aware of how terrible these thoughts sound, but they're the truth. This is what most people with anorexia and orthorexia and restrictive eating disorders are thinking. And I know this because my sessions are safe spaces where people are invited to bring their honesty in a judgment-free space. Like I said, this is the reality of fear. It makes you think and believe things that most people wouldn't dare say out loud. Hence why the topic of eating disorder superiority is rarely talked about, and I have done separate podcast episodes about this, and yeah, let me know if you want me to do an entire dedicated podcast about the superiority in eating disorders, because I definitely can. But coming back to this episode, my first thought when I read this message about wanting to know what a typical day of extreme hunger looks like for me, my first thought was there is no typical day of extreme hunger. Now, I didn't actually reply that. I ended up replying what encompassed the actual fear. For trying to figure out how much to eat while having extreme hunger defeats the entire purpose of honoring extreme hunger. Because honoring extreme hunger in its entirety means releasing all labels around food, from types of food to portions of food to what one must do to burn off food. And this label-free mindset simply cannot coexist with a predetermined amount. I mean, I do hope my saying this out loud makes you realize how ridiculous that belief that you can fully honor extreme hunger while already having decided what that even means is. This is, of course, what makes honoring extreme hunger so terrifying. Precisely because there's no map. Precisely because it's unpredictable and you don't know what or how much you'll end up eating. It's terrifying for anyone, exponentially so for the autistic mind. And this is precisely where the latter half of the message comes in. It would be helpful to have an example. Why would it be helpful to have an example? It wouldn't actually be helpful at all. Because with an example, you're still trying to follow a map that doesn't exist. Even if I did tell you that I ate over 20,000 calories in one day, true story, that still wouldn't change anything, because I've already shared my extreme hunger story at length in my book, How to Beat Extreme Hunger. So if just knowing how much I ate would actually change things for you, it already would have. So what did I end up replying to the message? What you're looking for isn't more knowledge, but permission. Permission to eat everything you were thinking of. Because it's the very trying to figure out how much to eat that's keeping you stuck. To keep going here, the sentence, "It would be helpful to have an example," could be replaced with, "I want to know how much I want to eat isn't wrong or too much," because this is the real fear, that your mental hunger wants you to eat too much, and that's why you can't trust it. And if you can't trust it, well, that's why you need a how-to, right? Let's be honest about what's really happening here. The not knowing how much to eat question is almost always rooted in the fear of weight gain. Otherwise, you wouldn't be erring on the side of caution and under-eating right now. You know, just to be safe. The irony is that for your body, just to be safe is actually the complete opposite. True safety comes from eating in abundance. The real problem with the how much should I eat question is that it's looking at recovery through the same limited mindset that's keeping your eating disorder alive. It's what our autistic friend Einstein said. You can't fix a problem with the same thinking that created it. When I was deep in my extreme hunger phase, I had to confront this uncomfortable truth, that my body needed amounts of food that seemed objectively excessive by any standard comparison. But that's because my body wasn't operating under standard conditions. It was in emergency repair mode. Your body doesn't care about what your friends eat, what influencers show in their "what I eat in a day" videos, or what society deems as quote-unquote normal. Your body only cares about one thing and one thing only, your survival. And after prolonged restriction, especially when the eating disorder began in childhood, healing requires an incredible number of calories, way more calories than you think. So the real question doesn't have anything to do with needing to know how much to eat. The real question is, when will you claim the permission to fully honor your mental hunger? And that's all I have for you today, my friend. If you enjoyed this episode, I would so appreciate it if you could take 2 minutes to leave a 5-star rating and positive review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you're listening on YouTube, drop a comment below and let me know what you thought of this episode. If you want more guidance on your ED recovery journey and want the opportunity to ask me questions in real time, and I swear to you, this is the most affordable way to get direct access to me to ask questions, be sure to join us in the Autistically ED-free membership that is now open for enrollment, and oh my gosh, I am so excited. Just head over to livelabelfree.com/membership, and as I said at the top of this episode, I hope to see you there. Otherwise, I'll talk to you in the next episode of the Live Label Free podcast. Bye-bye for now.
Baby, just one foot in front of the other, and you'll see